Namaste. Welcome. I'm Julie Hill with Yoga Body. I help people eliminate pain and get back to doing the activities that they love through movement therapy, through Reiki energy healing, and really helping people grow their awareness, their somatic sense for what's going on inside. And today I wanted to focus on bringing you a movement meditation that will do just that. It'll allow you to kind of close out the external environment and really come into this internal environment that we live in. That's our home. Finding what our patterns are and kind of how our day is being absorbed in our tissue, in our bodies. Coming into that place of noticing what really needs to be unwound, where we're tightening up, and where maybe we're losing stability. So we'll move through just an easy practice for about 10 minutes or so, and I encourage you to bring this into your life for the next 30 to 40 days. Really taking some time over each day, whether it be in the morning, the afternoon, or evening, maybe just a break at work, standing up. It'll be an entirely standing practice. You won't need anything for it, but just to kind of check in, to notice kind of how you're doing and how your range of motion might change from day to day. It'll be a great exploration, and it'll give you a better sense of kind of how life is settling within. So let's go ahead and start out here. I'm going to have you stand with your feet hip-width distance apart. Close your eyes and just allow yourself to be very present to the sensation of your feet coming into the floor. And then feel how your legs are coming up out of your feet. Notice if they feel solid and strong, or if they feel tired, or maybe hollow, or lighter. And then feel how your pelvis is sitting on top of your legs. Notice if it feels relaxed, or for some reason there's a slight kind of held tipping forward, or even tipping back. Follow the spine coming out of the hips, up the back. And then notice how the shoulders are. Maybe they're slightly kind of lifted towards your ear, or maybe they're being pushed down and held there. See if you can't relax them and let them just kind of fall naturally where they do. Feel the arm bones kind of hanging down. Notice if there's a bend at the elbow, or they just feel really heavy and kind of flowing, just hanging there. Maybe the fingers are held, and try and let that release. And then allow yourself to follow that line up through the back and the sides of the neck to the skull. Notice if the head feels like it's slightly forward in front of the shoulders, or if it feels like it's in line with the shoulders, or maybe even back a little. No judgment here, just noticing. Allow your jaw to relax if there's any kind of held sensation there, or maybe an opportunity to let it kind of release and hang. And then allow yourself to feel your breath. Feel where the breath is flowing to in this moment. Maybe there's an opportunity to soften the tissue in the belly to let that release, so that the breath can come down further into the torso. As it flows down and then rises back up and then back out. And from here, you can go ahead and keep your eyes closed, but let's allow the head to roll around a few times in each direction. And really just softly, slowly, noticing how maybe you can get a sense for the side muscles coming along the neck, how they reach out, attaching down to muscles coming through the shoulder, rolling in the other direction as well. You can stay longer with the head if you like, or you can start to roll the shoulders. Just feeling the shoulder blades kind of moving around on the back of the ribs, lifting up and then settling back down. Notice what your patterns are here. Is there a bump or a clank? Is there a desire to move with the elbows and they want to get into it? Or can the arms just really be hanging? And the blades doing the motion here. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and allow the shoulders to relax, come into stillness, and we're going to think about the rib cage. And so kind of an access point where the solar plexus is. We're going to take the rib cage and we're going to roll it around. So rolling it kind of forward to the side, back, and to the other side. And just notice how that feels for you. And hands could just be kind of down, hanging, or if it helps you to have them on the sides of the ribs, you can feel that part moving. Notice if the hips have to kind of go in the opposite direction or if they can pretty much stay still. Not forced still, but staying still. And we'll come back to neutral, maybe widen the stance a little bit. And now we'll move the hips, letting them come forward to the side, back, the other side. So the pelvis circles around. And then you can notice here, if the rib cage wants to go, do the shoulders want to go opposite the hips to make them move? Or can you just find that movement just in the pelvis? Notice what's available to you here. The more we bring our attention here, the slower we move and allow it just to kind of happen freely, the more easily we'll be able to gain some range of motion back if your shoulders are kind of moving with your pelvis. Good, and then we'll come to feet together and let the legs just kind of come to the side and roll, and then the other side and roll, bending the knees and letting them sweep over to a side a couple of times in each direction. We're going to come down into the foot. And so I'm going to roll up my pant leg here so you can see, but I'd like you to think about the sides of your feet, and particularly around the side of the heel. So we're going to start by just letting it weight, and we're going to shift the weight from one side, the outside edge of the heel, to the inside, and then back and forth, and kind of noticing what has to happen. Is there a movement in the foot itself, or does the knee need to make that movement of the foot happen so we know the ankle is kind of stiff and that the knee does the work for the ankle? So see if you can just let the knee relax and let that ankle joint find that movement for the heel. And then you can take it all the way along that knife edge side or the pinky toe side of the foot, press down into each toe one at a time till you come all the way over to the big toe, and then let that inner side of the foot make contact and roll around again. You can stay here with this foot longer if you'd like. We're going to go to the other side. So again, starting with the back of the heel and just allowing that to kind of roll around. And then noticing, what is the range of motion with the ankle on this foot? And when you can feel the sides of the heel kind of making that connection, let's go ahead and start to add in the full foot. So we'll roll up that pinky toe side, connect with each toe into the floor, and then back down, and then around again. Not meant to be a balancing move, so if you want to hold on to a chair or the wall, you're welcome to that. Good. And then bring the feet together. You can certainly stay longer with that foot if you'd like. We're going to add a side bend. Connecting, both feet are evenly weighted. We come over to the side, take a breath through this right rib cage, and then just notice here. What do you feel is releasing? Is it something with the arm, or maybe in the neck or the shoulder? You feel a release from the side of the armpit down to the hip? Or is there something in the leg? And then come up a little bit. Maybe you let the arm relax and just come over to feel more of it coming through this side line of the body. And then we'll come to the other side. Notice where you go to first. Notice if there seems to be a little twist forward, so maybe you do feel a pull along that top shoulder. If you do, then come back up and try and stay just as if you were against a wall, or maybe back up to a wall and see how that goes. And then rise back up. Nice, and then from here we're going to go ahead and add in what I call like a spinal roll down. And so you want to think about, we're going to move through the different parts of the spine, but think about the hips are going to stay directly above the knees, the ankles. So it's not a forward fold where we bend over, but we're just going to allow the arms to hang down. You could maybe stand at just the front of a wall so that there's just a little bit of space between your bum and the wall. If you feel your bum hit the wall, you'll know you're starting to bend over. And we're going to allow each vertebra to simply shift and roll. So the chin comes down, and then we start to roll through that top thoracic area of the spine. The arms hang here. And we just come to where we can come. So it's different for each one of us. Notice if maybe the feet are trying to shift. Maybe the heels are pulling together as you do this. Come down to as far as you can, take a breath. Notice where you feel any release, any kind of slight letting go or maybe a gentle stretch, and then come all the way back up, slowly letting each vertebra stack on its way back up. Chin will come up last here. And then take a breath and just kind of feel into that. And then repeat that. Allow your chin to come to your chest. Find that very slow roll down, arms just kind of hanging. Feet staying evenly weighted through the balls of the feet, the pinky toes, the heels, bum staying where it is rather than kind of bending at the waist. And then take a breath and work your way all the way back up. Maybe for you, that's just a great release sensation down the back line of the body, so that's great. Take a breath at the top. Now come back and face the camera here. Take a moment here just to allow yourself to kind of connect in. We're going to add in just an easy twist. So we want to think of our body as in kind of two pieces, the rib cage and the hips. Hands are going to come into prayer and touch the breastbone. Let the arms just kind of relax. We're going to think about rotating from side to side. Just getting the rib cage to kind of move from one side to the other. And you can slow down or you can go a little faster. I'm going to turn sideways so you can kind of see. I want you to think about the hips staying where they are and just allowing the ribs to come over. And just kind of bump up against the point where you're like, oh, if I go any further, then I know my shoulders are going to want to creep up by my ears. Or if I go any further, it's really just my head and my hands and my rib cage isn't moving. Or maybe for you, if you go any further, your pelvis is going to start to go with it. And that's just really changing the relationship on the spine. So back and forth a few times. Good. And then release will come back to standing hip width distance apart. You can hang onto a wall here or a chair. We're just going to move through the leg bone. So we'll come up onto the toe and then let that leg open and close. Again, really paying particularly close attention to what's going on with the pelvis. So we want the leg bone to rotate in the socket rather than having the whole thing go with it, changing the relationship of the standing leg and the pelvis there. So from a side perspective, if I want to keep this here, I'm going to go ahead and open the leg and close it. And then on the other side, same thing. And just notice, how are the two sides the same? Do you feel like you're kind of tipping forward to make it happen, or can you stay in a neutral position with your pelvis? Good. And then we're going to go ahead and come back. I'm going to stay sideways. I want you to come into a standing straddle. So widening your stance, bringing your hands to your hips. Think about where the leg bones go into the socket, so that leg hip crease. We're going to slowly hinge forward, right from the hips. So even though the head and the shoulders might want to go first, I want you to feel right where the pelvis is and have it hinge forward. And then from there, coming down to the point where you just can't feel that the pelvis is actually coming forward anymore. And you can put your hands on your legs, maybe add a bend in the knees, and even try and go a little bit further with the pelvis, and then stay there and breathe. You could have your hands resting on a chair. You could have them come down to the front of the legs. I'm just taking a few breaths here just to feel whatever it is. And then we're going to come back up, and I want you to be really mindful about the movement. So we want the awareness to be around the back and here in the pelvis. And that's where we're going to move from. So it's not going to come from the head or the shoulders. We're actually going to go ahead and allow the hips to shift first, so that using the back of the legs to draw the pelvis up, and the shoulders and the head just kind of follow until we come to standing. And then we'll step our feet together. Come into this place of just kind of feeling the ground in our feet. You can close your eyes. Feeling how the legs are in this moment. Again, do they feel strong? Do they feel solid? Or are they just tired? Noticing how the pelvis is placed on top of the legs. If it feels more relaxed now than it did before. Following the spine up, feeling parts of the back and the shoulders. Maybe it just somehow feels that they're kind of hanging. More relaxed state, and the arms feel a little more free. As they just hang down, the elbows don't have so much of a kind of a held bent position. They're just really hanging. Fingers relaxed. And following that up, into the sides of the neck and the back of the head, coming around and noticing the jaw. And if that feels heavy and relaxed, allowing yourself to be present to your breath again. Maybe there's just more fluidness with the breath now than there was before. You can feel it coming way down, filling up first in that lower belly and then rising as it fills through the mid and the chest and then back out again. Or perhaps for you, the exhale just feels really like it's releasing, like you're truly letting it let go. You can stay here as long as you'd like. I encourage you to continue with this practice. Doesn't matter the time of the day, but coming to it each day and just taking a few minutes to check in, to grow your somatic sense for how you are embodying your home, your being, to unwind some of those patterns and just become more aware of them. If you have any questions about how to deepen this inner awareness, or you'd like to work on it one-on-one, please contact me at julie@yogabodyllc.com. Here's to a happier and healthier you. Namaste.